I do wonder, Anthony. I guess our perception is that North Korea is such a backward society in many ways. But of course, they have nuclear warheads, so they can't be that backward. But how did they get to be cybercrime experts?
Yeah, this is something that has plagued. I've worked on North Korea since 2001, starting focused on their nuclear missile programs, and then eventually focusing on sanctions to stop those programs. But I think this has been a consistent theme when people look at North Korea. North Korea does have significant issues with famine and other issues in their past, but they have developed a nuclear weapons program. They have developed intercontinental ballistic missiles and tested all of those successfully, and they're moving forward on that. It's not surprising, at least to me, that looking at their cyber activities that they've become more sophisticated. I guess the other thing I would say is that there's actually a level above just cyber activities, what we used to call illicit activities, because again, this might be something that people don't recall, but North Korea used to counterfeit US currency. Now I say used to because there haven't been recent examples. Now maybe they're still doing it and it just hasn't been caught, but it was so good that was hard to really detect these $100 bills that they were counterfeiting. And that was
Right.
just another way for them to make money for their regime. They've also done, pharmaceuticals and just the whole list of, and the counterfeit currency and counterfeit cigarettes linked all the way back to Ireland. I mean, to your question earlier about the global nature of this, but essentially, all of these activities, the illicit activities, including cyber, is their effort, North Korea's effort to really try and find the weaknesses in the sanctions regime, whether it's the sanctions themselves in terms of the entities and individuals and banks that are targeted, but then also us not caring as much, right? I say in my review of Jeff White's book that the way we've been successful is dedicating the resources to this effort. And frankly, since 2018, including the Trump administration that I served in, and currently the Biden administration, we're not focused on it enough. And
Right.
when that happens, then North Korea is gonna find those loopholes.
Yeah, is it a result of other geopolitical issues like China and Russia crowding it out? Is that part of the story, or is there something else at play there?
Right. I think that's part of it. There's only so many resources to go around, especially when you talk about the people who write sanctions packages, primarily in the Treasury Department here in the United States. That's one issue. I'd say the other issue is there's this perception beyond what you asked earlier in terms of this assumption, right, that they're not as sophisticated enough. That's one, but I think the other aspect is people tend to throw their hands up and say, well, they already have nuclear weapons. They already have long range ballistic missiles. There's no way we're going to get to denuclearization, which, we can debate whether that's true or not. But
Mhm.
the primary point here is that these sanctions and making sure that they're continually maintained actually make it more difficult for them to advance those programs. So there's value in doing that in of itself, even if the long term goal seems to get longer and longer term on denuclearization.
So what are the West's vulnerabilities then? Can you itemize those?
Well, right now, so the North Koreans, I think we talked about earlier, they tried to steal $1 billion from the Bangladesh central bank. They got only about 81 million dollars, but that was still a lot. They've done some of these ATM heists where they get money from those. Now they're focused on stealing virtual currency, and they're stealing upwards in the hundreds of millions of dollars worth. Now, of course, as we all know, that value fluctuates, but I think the way they note it is the value when it's stolen, and it's several hundreds of millions of dollars now. That's really a vulnerability they've started to exploit.
So is it mostly then online activity? Is that the big thing right now?
Online and even through online gaming and the like. And right now, the Treasury Department has been targeting how they obscure that money that's stolen.